Hey everyone, I'm Grandpa Max Angor. Please excuse my voice. I just woke up and I've been thinking about this all night. And I wanted to get my thoughts out. My buddy Chad, I'm not going to identify him more than that in case people think less of him. And I don't want anybody to think less of anybody that I mention here. This is not to shit talk or to talk down to. This is just my thoughts. Um, my buddy Chad had decided to restructure his life a little. He is, like me, a game accessibility consultant slash advocate, and he has had to restructure away from trying to make money doing consulting. And as everybody knows, I don't get any money, nor do I particularly, well, I want money, but it's not something I ask for because the job comes first. Getting options into games comes first. And he said something that made my noggin jog. Um, the industry as a whole is becoming a toxic swamp, and it's only going to make it harder for people like you and I to get any kind of opportunity to make a living wage. Unfortunately, I also feel like the consultants at the top do not share anything with those of us who are at the bottom, so it is impossible to pursue consulting the gaming industry full time. Instead, I would rather find something I can make money off of and be able to do consulting for fun like I was originally when I started, which, fair enough. I have had to do some restructuring myself, not so much for money's sake, but for like how much I'm streaming versus how much I'm walking, and if I'm giving Chip as much time as he deserves, and little shit like that. Which is why I say I don't begrudge Chad, but it did bring up an interesting point that got my noggin jogging when I was trying to sleep, and that is passion. And this goes for video game development. This goes for, my wife working at her bookstore. This goes for anything. Or at the bookstore. She doesn't own the damn thing. Would you do it for free? Would you do it if you had to pay to do it? So, how devoted to your passion, to your dream, are you? And it reminded me of something Darby Allin said. I was listening to a wrestling podcast, and it came through that Darby Allin had said he would do wrestling for free. So that's kind of related to this in a tangential way. Goddamn allergies. That well, let's see here. Now, I have done accessibility stuff at cost. I've had to buy the games. Now, unfortunately, I live on disability, so I can't really afford to do that often, but I have done it. And I've done accessibility work. Well, I've tried to it anyway, reached out to devs of games I've bought myself, of games I've been given gifts of for my birthday from friends. But most of the time I ask for codes because I simply cannot afford to pay for these games. So if a dev gives me a code, I give them a review. I give them, accessibility feedback. And the reason I don't shit on Chad, even though there is an air of I'm better because I don't do it for money, there is. Let's just be honest, there is. Um, the reason I don't shit on Chad is because he's honest about it. He tried to do it and make a living off of it. He found out he couldn't. He's switching. There's no shame in that. That is admitting that a plan is not working and restructuring so that you can do it as something you love. He reached beyond his grasp, especially in this, post DEI fucking Sweet Baby Inc. exposed world. And I don't think there's any shame in that. The fact of the matter is he still wants to do it. So, hey. But that's my question to game devs, to indie devs, to accessibility consultants, to pretty much all my friends. You have a passion. How much are you willing to put into your passion? My buddy Ron is a professional HVAC guy, or no, well, now he does fireplaces and stuff. And he puts money into his passion, which is painting, doing Bob Ross style oil paintings. I've got a ton of them around my room, and thank God he makes them big enough for my blind ass to be able to see them. And he pays for the canvases, he pays for the paints, he charges people for commissions, but it's mostly out of pocket. The difference being is he's a professional blue collar, and he makes a shit ton of money. Like he and his wife own their own home, and they did in their 20s. And they did not come from wealth. Their parents did not help them. They still have, he still has student debt. Actually, I think he just paid it off. But they were able to do that because he got into trade school. He got into, HVAC, and then he got into fireplaces, and now he makes a shit ton of money, and he can afford to finance his hobby through his career. But, someone like me who has limited funds, I can't afford to do that. If I could, I would, because I care that much about accessibility options. And my question to the game devs, my question to your Tiny Rogue dev, your Terra Randoma dev, congratulations on 1.0, by the way, your Jupiter Hell dev, your Hyper Strange publishing group / dev team is, would you do it for free? Would you do it if you had to pay to do it? And that isn't to diminish you. If you wouldn't, you wouldn't. It is what it is. But it's something to think about. It is a mental exercise to see how much of this is a passion versus how much of this is a career. And the wider point of it is, do you have a passion? Do you have something that you can be passionate about to where you would pay for the privilege of doing it if you could? Because I'll tell you for free, I would pay to do this because I am that committed to leaving the world a little better when I finally, kick off because of my crappy lungs or whatever reason it ends up being. Versus the clout chasers, versus, well, if I wasn't getting paid for it, I wouldn't do it. I think it's a matter of commitment. I genuinely wonder if Ian Hamilton would do this if he had to pay to do it, or if he didn't get any money off of it. I'm not actually sure he makes that much money off of it. I know he makes more than I do. But that is the question I pose to everyone watching this video. Would you do your passion if you had to pay to do it? Or would you do it if if there was no zero sum, or if there was a zero sum gain or loss, if it was just neutral? Or, or would you only do it if you were being paid to do it? Anyway, that's just my food for thought for the day. I thought it was interesting, so I thought I would make a little rant video on it. I have been Max Angor, and I really fucking need some coffee because I'm going to the gym in about an hour with the roommate. So I will see you all next time.